Good afternoon, Rabbi Cat here from Beit Kun, a synagogue without walls, and we are going to be meeting tomorrow for our Shabbat morning services, discussing Parsha Terumah, as well as celebrating this amazing universe in which we live, with all of its challenges and struggles and angst and heartache and horror. So in this week's Parsha, we look at the building of the Mishkan, this holy sanctuary that the people are supposed to carry with them throughout their wilderness journey. And as we've been talking about this theme of liberation, that is the book of Exodus, in Parsha Mishpatim last week, I spoke about the fact that there were concrete rules and laws set forth in that Parsha, as well as more broad moral principles, including the one most repeated in the Torah, loving the stranger and caring for the needy or the other. Now, in this week's Parsha, as I mentioned, we look at the building of this Mishkan, let's say a sanctuary for the divine presence, the imminent divine presence. And there's lots of questions in this Parsha, one of which is, why do we need to build a sanctuary for a divine presence that is transcendent and everywhere? And what does it mean for it to be imminent and present in this moment, in this place, in this unique spot? And how do we explore that tension or that contrast, if you will? And also, one of the questions I'm sitting with is, what divine instructions are needed for us today to build sacred spaces? And how do we hold this tension or this contrast again between us, ourselves, me and I, and you and the other, or in Martin Buber's terms, I and thou? This Parsha starts to explore, allows us to unpack that and explore this dance of relationship between I and thou, or I and it. And how do we move from seeing the other as an it to seeing the other as thou, as an embodiment of the divine? And what does that mean for us in our individual relationships? But also, what does that mean for us in our movement work, in our work in solidarity with Palestinians, to participate in the uplifting of their liberation and to call for a ceasefire and an end to this ongoing genocide? So that's what we'll be discussing after we do our morning prayers at 9:30 in the morning Pacific time. Then we'll be reading this Parsha and having these types of discussions. So I hope you will join us. Shabbat Shalom.